Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to the show. It's Healthy Love Night right here on the night shift of DJ Kevin Stew. How you doing? Welcome to the show, glad to have you. I want to say big ups to each and everybody locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio, the night shift of DJ Kevin Stew, ratthebox.net, Foundation Radio Network, One Harmony Radio, WGLRO, all the affiliate stations. Big ups to you. Those tuning in on PEMGTV.com. Big ups. And of course, right here, the home of the night shift, KevinStew.com. Glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. And you have my word. I wouldn't even try. Kicking it up with a little Kenyo. It's called In Front of Me. There's nothing like having some good chemistry. I want to say thanks to Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show. When being in a moment is priceless, you want to give them a link. Numbers to reach them 754-999-6020, or you can link them on pulseemg.com. It's that time of year when Pulse can be of great assistance to you. Capturing your moments, your parties, your graduations. You name it. They can record it or stream it on a secure platform. Taking all the work out of what you would have to do to get it out there. So thank you, Pulse Media Group. Once again, the numbers 754-999-6020, or you can visit them at pulseemg.com. Numbers to call, numbers to text to get you in touch for tonight's show: 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, and of course, the Stew Pot is open and available for you to jump on in and be interactive. Where do you find a Stew Pot? kevinstew.com. It is what others would call a chat room. Right here, it's a Stew Pot. The water is always just right. It's where we keep things bubbling. All right, so big question. Tonight, we're looking at some rare mental conditions. So, the big question to ask is, what is mental illness? And really and truly, it's an illness just like an ailment, just like heart disease and diabetes, when you really check it out. Mental illnesses are health conditions involving changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior, or any combination of those. Mental illnesses are associated with distress or problems functioning in social, work, or family activities. Mental illness is common, very common. In a given year, nearly 1 in 5, that's about 19% of US adults, experience some form of mental illness. 1 in 5 in any given year. 1 in 24 has a serious mental illness. That's 4.1%. And 1 in 12, 8.5%, has a diagnosable substance use disorder. Mental illness is treatable. The vast majority of individuals with mental illness continue to function in their daily lives. So it's not a death sentence kind of a thing. No. It's treatable. It's work withable. Mental health involves effective functioning in daily activities, resulting in productive activities, whether at work, at school, or in caregiving, healthy relationships, and the ability to change and cope with adversity. Good night to you, Julianne, and good night, G. Welcome to the show. Mental illness refers collectively to all diagnosable mental disorders, health conditions involving significant changes in thinking, emotion, and behavior. When you have significant changes in it, it's possible that there's a mental illness that is present. It's associated with distress and/or problems functioning, like we said before, in social activities, at work, or in family activities. With mental health, you're looking at the foundation for emotions, thinking, communication, learning, resilience, and self-esteem. Mental health is also key to relationships, personal and emotional well-being, and contributing to community or society. Many people have a mental illness, and quite a number of them that don't want to talk about it. But mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of. It is a medical condition, just like heart disease or diabetes. And conditions are treatable. We're continually expanding our understanding of how the human brain works. And treatments are available to help people successfully manage mental health conditions. Again, it's work in progress. Mental illness does not discriminate. It can affect anyone. And it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your gender, where you're located, your income, your social status, your race, your ethnicity, your religion, spirituality, sexual orientation, your background, or any aspect of cultural identity that you can think of. It doesn't matter. While mental illness can happen at any age, round about 3/4 of them begin by age 24. Why 24? I don't know. Something special about 24, I guess. Mental illnesses also take many forms. Some are mild and only interfere in limited ways with daily life. Those would fall in the category of phobias, which would be your abnormal fears. Other mental health conditions are so severe that you may need hospital care. They're treatable and improvement is possible in many cases. Many people with mental health conditions return to full functioning, and some mental illnesses are actually preventable. It is not always clear when a problem with mood or thinking has become serious enough to become a mental health concern. Sometimes, for example, a depressed mood is normal, such as when a person experiences the loss of a loved one. And that's not necessarily only in death, but it could be the death of a relationship. But if that depressed mood continues to cause distress or gets in the way of normal, or with rabbit ears, normal functioning, the person may benefit from professional care. Family or friends may recognize changes or problems that a person doesn't necessarily see in themselves. Some mental illnesses can be treated to or mimic a medical condition. It can be related to, or they can mimic a medical condition. Like depressive symptoms can relate to a thyroid condition. And so a mental health diagnosis typically involves a full evaluation, including a physical exam. And this may include blood work and or neurological tests. People of adverse cultures and backgrounds may express mental health conditions differently. As an example, some are more likely to come to a healthcare professional with complaints of physical symptoms that are caused by a mental health condition. Some cultures view and describe mental health conditions in different ways from most doctors in the US. Stigma around mental illness and treatments prevent many people, from actually seeking needed treatment. I must say this. I don't know if it has happened to any of you, but have you ever had an emotion and the emotion is so strong that you physically, you feel it. You feel it manifested in you physically. And this emotion could be anger. It could be hurt. It could be missing someone. Any of these conditions, any of these, let's call it a condition, or any of these situations. Have you ever had it so bad that you actually feel it manifest as a pain or shortness of breath or anxiety? Well, anxiety is one of those things that It's like that. That it's emotion linked, but you kind of feel it. But I mean, like, really feel a pain somewhere because of an emotion. It could be serious. I'm just saying. If it is, I guess that the whole idea here is, if there's something that is prolonged, then you might want to talk to somebody about it. The diagnosis of a mental disorder is not the same as a need for treatment. Need for treatment takes into consideration how severe the symptoms are, how much symptoms cause distress and affect daily living, the risks and benefits of available treatments, and other factors. For example, psychiatric symptoms and complicating other illnesses. These things all play a role. It's like they all fit together to determine how you're gonna, what kind of treatment you're gonna have. Mental health treatment is based on an individualized plan developed collaboratively with a mental health clinician and an individual, and maybe family members if the individual desires. It may include psychotherapy, which is talk therapy. It may include medication. It could mean that some other types of treatment would be involved. Often a combination of therapy and medication is quite effective and most effective. Complementary and alternative therapies are also increasingly being used. Self-help and support can be very, 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 did I say very? Very important to an individual's coping, to their recovery, and in general to their well-being. Lifestyle changes such as good nutrition, exercise, and adequate sleep. Believe it or not, sleep can make or break an individual. It may sound kind of extreme, but you ask any physician how important sleep is. Sleep can support mental health and recovery in remarkable ways. A comprehensive treatment plan may include individual actions, for example, lifestyle changes, support groups, or even exercise. Yeah, exercise. And all these would be things that enhance recovery and well-being. Primary care physicians and primary care clinicians, psychiatrists, and other mental health clinicians help individuals and families understand mental illnesses and what they can do to control or cope with symptoms in order to improve health, wellness, and function. Do you know anybody that you think could benefit from a little bit of mental health care? And I put it that way because that person could be you. And it's not to say that you are crazy, but just to say that you're going through something that is affecting you on an emotional level and could possibly affect your socializing. It could affect your health. It could affect your family life. And as such, you could benefit from care from a psychiatrist, for example. I believe that everyone at some point in their life should see a therapist. I truly believe that. And you may believe that you are not suffering from anything, you don't need to speak to someone, but everybody needs to talk to somebody about something. And the only difference is some need to talk to someone more than others. But everybody gets to benefit from it. And this is why I say everybody benefits from it. It is recommended that you go to your dentist regularly. It is recommended that you go to your primary care regularly. You ever noticed that when you visit any of these two doctors, they ask you how you're doing? Especially your primary care. And when they ask you how you're doing, it's not just how you're doing physically. They want to know what your emotional well-being like. How are you coping on an emotional level? Because that can affect how your physical is. So don't just think that the only people that go see a therapist are crazy people, are sick people. No. Healthy people visit general practitioners in the very same way that healthy people visit a therapist. So you don't need to think that there's anything crazy going on with you. But in order to prevent something crazy from happening, you may want to have some of these discussions. You see how it works? It's called preventative care. Nothing wrong with that. This is music from Cesar, his rendition of Beautiful.
My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man, but I won't lose no sleep on that, 'cause I got a plan. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, it's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you.
gonna take a quick little break. When we come back, we're gonna look at some types, some different conditions that are recognized as mental illnesses, and we're gonna go through and identify them and give a little bit of a description of what some of these conditions are. So call a friend, tell a friend, don't go anywhere. If you do, come back with somebody. It's healthy love, and we're looking at rare mental illnesses or mental conditions tonight, but we kind of have to set it up before we get into that. So we have to go through and look at what mental health is and the types of disorders or conditions that fall under the mental health or mental illness umbrella. So we'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Come back if you do, and bring somebody else with you. All right? Cool. Right back.
Pulsey Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsey Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music? Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there. We know how it feels. So we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR, as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management, and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
It's the third annual Caribbean Celeb Basketball Tournament, Saturday, May 25th, 12 p.m. at the VEH Youth Enrichment Center, 7000 Miramar Parkway in Miramar. Proceeds for the Sounds for the Youth program. This year's teams, Universal Hilltop Records, VP Records, E2 Productions, Heavy Beat Records. Performances by Shauna Lee, Jadon, and Peter G. Hosted by G. Cole, Sir Rockwell, and TC Flex. Free admission. Donations accepted. Live stream by Flex FM. Music by New Vision Sound. Surprise guest performances. Sponsored by JTMC, WZPP, South Florida Caribbean News. Homegrown with G. Cole, Flex FM, Rock the Box, Taxi Gang, High Class Promotions, Island Beat Marketing, David I Photography, Foundation Radio Network, LTK20, Island Energy Drink, Rattigan and Associates, Events Are Us, Irie Pen, The Melissa Jane Show, Real Rockers, GMAX Solutions, Jazzfar, Elite Global, New Lane Marketing, Jillian J, Stratmeyer Financial, WGLRO, Kevin Stew, All Time Printing, and Miad Restaurant. For info, call JTMC 954-613-3851 or 678-793-8800.
Not a mouse.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
This is Gia Yee, and you're listening to The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
This is the sound of GAE from the Reggae Prescription album. The track is called Gaslit. I want to welcome you back to the show. It's Healthy Love on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
Willingly abide. Were you afraid your house of cards would fall? Because you knew I'd seen the writing on the wall. Of course the day came when you lost control. You tried to take my life, take my very soul. But what you didn't bargain for or didn't see was that I still had a lot of fight in me. I was gaslit without knowing what was going on. Gaslit until I realized something was truly wrong. I chose my life. I couldn't stay.
I want to say thanks to Althea
Chose to walk away.
with Healing Heavenly Hands for sponsoring this segment of the show.
I chose my life.
Massage therapy that comes to you. Reach her at thealater@att.net or give her a call 954-655-9000 655-9000. she comes to you if you're in Broad County, parts of Palm Beach County, parts of Miami-Dade. Just give her a call. And I can tell you, these hands work. I've heard people say, listen, I've never had hands laid on me in this way before. Where have you been all day? I wouldn't necessarily say all my life, but people have said, where have you been all day? I've been looking for this all day. Where have you been, lady? So give her a call, give her a try. Healing Heavenly Hands. Once again, I want to let you know the Happy Blanket is still available. Give me a link, I'll put you in touch. A beautiful handmade blanket. So comfortable, so warm. And yet so cool at the same time. It just works. And of course, Jillian J's featured set right now is still available. This is a silver necklace and earring set with winged pendants at the ends, also handmade. They're just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous pieces. And with Mother's Day coming up, you might want to get in touch with Jillian J and say, hey, listen, if somebody got that piece, I want something else. What you got? Because I know you got some things. Alright, contact Jillian J. Give me a link if you don't know how to get in touch with them. 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. Call me, text me. Skype me, kevin.stew. Either way, we can get in touch. So, conditions that fall under the umbrella of mental illness or mental disorders. You have things like anxiety disorders, where people with anxiety disorders respond to certain objects or situations with fear and dread, as well as with physical signs of anxiety or panic, things such as rapid heartbeat and sweating. An anxiety disorder is diagnosed if a person's response is not appropriate for the situation. If the person cannot control the response or if the anxiety interferes with normal functioning. Anxiety disorders include generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and specific phobias. Not all of them, just specific ones. Then you have your mood disorders. And these are also called affective disorders. And they involve persistent feelings of sadness or periods of feeling overly happy, or fluctuations from extreme happiness to extreme sadness. The most common mood disorders are depression, bipolar disorder, and cyclothymic disorder. Then you have your psychotic disorders, and these involve distorted awareness and thinking. So one of the most common symptoms of psychotic disorders are hallucinations, the experience of images or sounds that are not real, such as hearing voices, and delusions, which are false fixed beliefs that the ill person accepts as true. And this is despite evidence to the contrary. And schizophrenia is an example of a psychotic disorder. Then you have your eating disorders, which involve extreme emotions, attitudes, and behaviors involving weight and food. Anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorders are the most common eating disorders. Then you have your impulse and addiction disorders. And people with these are unable to resist urges or impulses to perform acts that could be harmful to themselves or others. Pyromania is one such disorder where there's the need to start fires. Kleptomania, the need to steal. And compulsive gambling. These are examples of impulse control disorders. Alcohol and drugs are common objects of addictions. And often people with these disorders become so involved with the objects of their addiction that they begin to ignore responsibilities and relationships. So if you wonder why it is someone would want to go to the bar and spend time at the bar with a bottle instead of going home to their family, well, that's why. Then you have your personality disorders. And people with personality disorders have extreme and inflexible personality traits that are distressing to the person and or cause problems in work, school, or social relationships. In addition, the person's patterns of thinking and behavior significantly differs from the expectations of society and are so rigid that they interfere with the person's normal functioning, or what would be considered normal. Examples of these include antisocial personality disorder, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, and paranoid personality disorder. Then you have your OCDs, your obsessive compulsive disorder. And these people are plagued by constant thoughts or fears that cause them to perform certain rituals or routines. The disturbing thoughts are called obsessions, and the rituals are called compulsions. And an example of this would be a person with unreasonable fear of germs who constantly washes their hands. It's OCD. Then you have one that is quite commonly talked about, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is a condition that can develop following a traumatic or terrifying event, such as sexual or physical assault. And the unexpected death of a loved one could also cause it, or a natural disaster. Anything that is considered traumatic or terrifying to an individual can cause PTSD. A dog attack, almost being hit by a truck or a vehicle, a moving vehicle. People with PTSD often have lasting and frightening thoughts and memories of the event and tend to be emotionally numb. I'll not go any further with that one. Then you have some less common types of mental illnesses. And these include stress response syndromes, which used to be called adjustment disorders. And these occur when people develop emotional or behavioral symptoms in response to a stressful event or situation. The stressors may include natural disasters, events or crises like a car accident, diagnosis of a major illness, or interpersonal problems like a divorce or death of a loss of a loved one, or loss of a job, or it could even include substance abuse. Stress response syndromes usually begin within 3 months of the event or situation and ends within 6 months after the stressor stops or is eliminated. Then you have your dissociative disorders. And people with these disorders suffer severe disturbances or changes in memory, consciousness, identity, and general awareness of themselves and their surroundings. These disorders usually are associated with overwhelming stress, which may be the result of traumatic events, accidents, or disasters that may be experienced or witnessed by the individual. Dissociative identity disorder, formerly called multiple personality disorder or split personality, and depersonalization disorder are examples of dissociative disorders. So if you have a split personality, you have another persona that comes out from time to time, you could be suffering from dissociative personality or dissociative disorders. Then you have your factitious disorders, where a person knowingly and intentionally creates or complains of physical or emotional symptoms in order to place the individual in the role of a patient or a person in need of help. Then you have your sexual and gender disorders. And like I said, these are real. These are very real. Sexual and gender disorders affect sexual desire, performance, and behavior. Sexual dysfunction, gender identity disorder, and paraphilias are examples of sexual and gender disorders. Then you have your somatic symptom disorders. And a person with a somatic symptom disorder, or what used to be known as a psychosomatic disorder or somatoform disorder, experiences physical symptoms of an illness or of pain with an excessive or disproportionate level of distress, regardless of whatever or whether or not a doctor can find a medical cause for the symptoms. The person is like, yo, I'm going through this and it is real for me. Then you have your tic disorders. And we're not talking about the parasite tick. No. People with tic disorders make sounds or display non-purposeful body movements that are repeated, quick, sudden, and or uncontrollable. You also have vocal tics, which are sounds that are made involuntarily. Tourette syndrome is an example of a tic disorder. Other diseases or conditions, including various sleep-related problems and many forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, are sometimes classified as mental illnesses. Why would these be classified as mental illnesses? Because they involve the brain. So, these conditions, like I said before, are very real to the individuals that are experiencing them. They may not be real to you, or you may not deem them as the person on the outside looking in to be that serious or to be that real, but it is very much real to the individual that's experiencing it. So you have to be mindful of that and be patient a lot of times with individuals that are going through these things, because not only do they need the help that you could possibly give them, but it could make that much of a difference. That little bit of help could be just what the person needs to get over that big hump, whatever that hump may be. And again, it may not seem like a big deal to you, but it can be a huge deal to the individual that is going through it. Just some things to be mindful of. This is Shaylin B.
Pick up the phone, baby.
This young lady here, watch out for her.
Baby,
This track is called Call Me.
I did something to get you caught up in your feelings. Funny how you try to play me. Used to be the one you needed daily. GTA stole everything, go break. You never call me anymore. Just to say hello, check up on me. No. You haven't called me in quite some time. Just left me behind. Must have lost your mind. I was there when you were jumping off the wall. Used to care, now you've got a wall. But I know when that hotline blinks, you come running back. Messages on my machine saying that you want me back. They steady trying to play me. Thought I was the one you needed daily. GTA stole everything, go break. You never call me anymore. Just to say hello, check up on me. No. You haven't called me in quite some time. Just left me behind. Must have lost your mind. One ring, two rings, three rings, four. Yeah, I'm not the one you should wanna ignore. I don't think I'm gonna cry. We had some good times. Hope you're doing alright. It's fine. You never call me anymore. Just to say hello, check up on me. No. You haven't called me in quite some time. Just left me behind. Must have lost your mind.
Young lady goes by the name of Shaylin B, and she is on the West Coast. A young 17-year-old girl. She got this thing going on. She's been performing for quite a while, and I'm trying to get in touch with her to bring her on so we can have a little chat so that y'all can get to know her a little better.
Making me feel like I did something to get you caught up in.
The track is called Call Me.
Funny how you try to play me. Used to be the one you needed daily. GTA stole everything, go break. You never call me.
Once again, thanks to Healing Hands, Heavenly Healing Hands,
Check up on me, no.
for sponsoring this segment of the show tonight.
Haven't called me in quite some time.
Give Althea a call.
Must have lost your mind.
954-655-9000. She comes to you, a licensed massage therapist.
When that hotline blinks, you come running back. Messages on my machine saying that you want me back. They steady trying to play me. Thought I was the one you needed daily. GTA stole everything, go break. You never call me anymore. Just to say hello, check up on me. No. You haven't called me in quite some time.
Do remember to contact Jillian J and get your Mother's Day gifts, your handmade Mother's Day gifts.
One ring, two rings, three.
Yeah, if you got someone in your family that
You should want it.
likes jewelry, handmade jewelry, Jillian J got you. But Jillian J doesn't only do jewelry,
It's fine. You never call me anymore.
your personalized fashion
Up on me, no.
consultant.
No. You haven't called me
What?
some time. Just let me be.
You want a makeover? Call Jillian J.
You never call me anymore. Just to say hello. Check up on me, no. You haven't called me.
If you don't need a full makeover, you just want to do a little something special, a little something, that's fine. You can call her for that too. call them for that too. We'll be right back. Let me see. 3 minutes to the top of the hour. Yeah, we'll be right back. We're gonna get in touch with some people here and give you some info. When we come back, we look at some of the scariest, what are considered to be the scariest mental disorders of all time. Now that should be interesting. And I looked at some of these and I was like, yo, is this for real? I was even asked not to present one of them, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just begging your forgiveness from now. We'll be right back after these messages. When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
It's the third annual Caribbean Celeb Basketball Tournament.
JTMC Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with The Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy P, Danny Ranks featuring Jawiz, Amberleek, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Zeal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
It's Christina representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin Stew and the night shift radio show. Yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa, DJ Kevin Stew at the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christina. It's a hot it up loud. the beast.
I know you too well, and you don't know me at all. New music coming at you from Kaylin Arnold, courtesy of J Vibe Music Productions. A track called At All. The first young lady signed to the Dada Sun label. I want to say thanks to JTMC for sponsoring this segment of the show. JTMC Enterprise providing you with bookings, tour management, event promotions, event management, social media management. All you got to do is give them a call. 678-793-8800. At 678-793-8800. And let me tell you something. You tell any of these people that you heard about them from the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, they'll be super thrilled. And you're guaranteed to not regret it. So, can you imagine if you suffered from a disorder that made you believe that your significant other was an imposter. And not only that they were an imposter, but they were determined to cause you harm. Or one that makes you think that books are for eating. Or somehow that you have become the walking dead. Yeah, these are real disorders. And while only a small percentage of people are actually forced to live with any of these types of disorders, the fact remains that 450 million people worldwide suffer from mental illness. And in the US alone, 1 in 4 families is affected, while some mental disorders, such as depression, these can happen naturally. Others are the result of some type of trauma to the brain or some other type of injury. And although it is fair to say that any mental illness can be scary for those suffering, there are a few rare disorders that are especially terrifying. And those are the ones that we're going to look at real quick. The first of them being the Alice in Wonderland syndrome. That can't be too scary. Well, think about what it is. One of Alice's more bizarre experiences shares its characteristic with this particular disorder. And the Alice in Wonderland syndrome is also called Todd syndrome. And it causes one's surroundings to be, or to appear to be, distorted. And just as Alice grows too tall for the house, those suffering from Alice in Wonderland syndrome will hear sounds either quieter or louder than they actually are. They might see objects larger or smaller than reality, and even lose a sense of accurate velocity or textures. This disorder, which has been described as an LSD trip without the euphoria, even perverts one's own body's image. So parts of your body may appear larger or smaller than they actually are. And there are some people that may not necessarily suffer from Alice in Wonderland syndrome, but they're definitely in dreamland about some of their body parts. Now, fortunately, Alice in Wonderland syndrome is extremely rare, and in most cases affects those in their 20s who have had a brain tumor or a history of drug abuse. So, fortunately, it's one of those that is quite treatable. Now, I kind of have to chuckle to myself with this one. Though it has often been used in the terrifying plot twists in the fictional world, alien hand syndrome is not limited to the fictional world. Those that have this scary but fortunately rare mental disorder experience a complete loss of control of a hand or limb. The uncontrollable limb often seems to take on a mind of its own, and sufferers have reported their alien limb attempting to choke either themselves or others, ripping clothing or scratching to the point of blood. Alien hand syndrome most often appears in patients with Alzheimer's disease or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, or as a result of brain surgery during which the brain's 2 hemispheres have been separated. Unfortunately, for this one, no cure exists, and those affected by it are often left to keep their hands constantly occupied or use their hand to control use one hand to control the alien hand, which is pretty much the same thing as keeping your hands occupied, if you ask me. But alien hand syndrome. Now, how many people are thinking at this moment, now I have an excuse to slap that person silly? No, you do not. I'm just saying. And if you try it, it will or could very well be to your own demise. 773-789 gets you in touch. Use your good hand to dial 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, and if you're far away and want to get in touch, you can Skype at kevin.stew. That's my name on Skype. Just send me a message, I'll get it. Now, known as body integrity disorder and amputee identity disorder, there's a condition called apotemnophobia. And no, not phobia, but philia. Apotemnophilia. And it's a neurological disorder characterized by the overwhelming desire to amputate or damage healthy parts of the body. Though not much is known about this quite terrifying disorder, it is believed to be associated with damage to the right parietal lobe of the brain. Because the vast majority of surgeons will not amputate healthy limbs upon request, some sufferers of apotemnophilia feel forced to amputate their own limbs, which of course is a quite dangerous scenario. It's apotemnophilia. You can look it up. apotemnophilia. Apotemnophilia. Now, of course, those who have had a limb removed by a doctor, most of them are actually happy with their decision, even after the fact. Now, does one with apotemnophilia, could someone suffering from that have alien hand syndrome? And if they do, which one would be the one that they want to get rid of? Things that make you go, There's this other disorder, which I guess when you turn to someone and say, you cow, if they have this disorder, they would not be offended by it at all. It's called boanthropy. And it is where individuals believe they're cows. And they would go as far as to behave like cows. Sometimes those with boanthropy are often found in fields with cows, walking on all fours and chewing grass as if they were a true member of the herd. Those with boanthropy do not seem to realize what they're doing when they act like a cow, leading researchers to believe that this odd mental disorder is brought on by dreams of or even hypnotism. Now, interestingly enough, it is believed that boanthropy is even referred to in the Bible, as King Nebuchadnezzar is described as being driven from men and did eat grass as oxen. Things to look at, things to look at. The condition named after Joseph Capgras, who is a French psychiatrist, who was fascinated by the illusion of doubles, is a debilitating mental disorder in which one believes that the people around them have been replaced by imposters. It's called Capra's delusion. These imposters are usually thought to be planning to harm the sufferer. In one case, a 74-year-old woman with Capgras delusion began to believe her husband had been replaced by an identical-looking imposter who was out to hurt her. Capgras delusion is relatively rare and is most often seen after trauma to the brain. Like the rest of them, trauma to the brain. Those who have been diagnosed with dementia, schizophrenia, or epilepsy also potentially suffer from Capgras delusion. Now, if you thought boanthropy was interesting, then lycanthropy would be just as interesting. And this is where you find individuals believe they are able to turn into animals, specifically wolves and werewolves. And though occasionally other types of animals are included, primarily they believe that they're wolves or werewolves. And along with the belief that they can become wolves, people with clinical lycanthropy also begin to act like an animal and are often found living or hiding in forests and other wooded areas. So if you have a family member that goes missing and you live near a wooded area and you go find them out there, you might want to walk with a bone. I don't know. But find their favorite chewy toy. Not to make fun of the situation, but these conditions are real. And somebody is going to be upset with me for making fun of the situation, but it's just the situation, not the actual individual that I'm making fun of, okay? But in all seriousness, these are real conditions. And if you thought that was weird, or those that I mentioned before are weird, it's not done yet. There's more. Those who have what would be considered a healthy interest in The Walking Dead and other elements of the current zombie trend are one thing. You know, it's entertainment, it's fun for some. But you have the others who suffer from a condition called Cotard delusion. And this is where the sufferer believes that they are the Walking Dead. They literally believe that they're a ghost or they're dead and their body is decaying and or they've lost all blood and their internal organs. The feeling of having a rotting body is usually part of the delusion. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to many sufferers of Cotard delusion experience that they experience severe depression. Well, if you felt that all your internal organs were gone, I think you'd be depressed too. In some cases, the delusion causes sufferers to starve themselves to death. This terrifying disorder was first described in 1880 by neurologist Jules Cotard. Though, fortunately, Cotard's delusion has proven extremely rare, the most well-known case actually occurred in Haiti, where a man was absolutely convinced he had died of AIDS and was in hell. Well, you have the rest of us who believe that we're very much alive and live in hell. But that's another type of condition, I'm sure. Diogenes syndrome, or Diogenes syndrome, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is more commonly referred to as, in its very simple form, hoarding. Not whoring, hoarding. Don't get it twisted. And is one of the most misunderstood mental disorders. It's named after the Greek philosopher Diogenes of Sinope, who was ironically a minimalist. Now, this syndrome is usually characterized by the overwhelming desire to collect seemingly random items, to which an emotional attachment is then formed. In addition to uncontrollable hoarding, those with this condition often exhibit extreme self-neglect, apathy towards themselves or others, social withdrawal, and no shame, none at all, for their habits. It is very common among the elderly, those with dementia, and people who have at some point in their lives been abandoned or who have lacked a stable home environment. You see how important something as simple as feeling loved and wanted and having a somewhat stable home. You see how important that is? You see the difference it can make? We mentioned this earlier. Dissociative identity disorder. And like we said, it used to be called multiple personality disorder. Generally, the less than 0.1% of people who suffer from dissociative identity disorder often have 2 to 3 different identities, sometimes more. Sufferers routinely cycle through their personalities and can remain as one identity for hours, sometimes for years. They can switch identities at any time without warning, and it is nearly impossible to convince someone with DID, dissociative identity disorder, that they have it. And for these reasons, those that suffer from it are unable to live normal lives and usually live in psychiatric institutions. There are some that call their homes psychiatric institutions, but that's just self-titled. It's not real. Don't worry about it. With the next condition, people typically... it's interesting, some of these conditions, really. Factitious disorder, I mentioned this earlier, where people intentionally make themselves ill in order to receive treatment. And this is a little bit different from hypochondria, because they make themselves ill to receive treatment, not that they think that they're ill, just because they have whatever symptoms of whatever. Sometimes sufferers will simply pretend to be ill, a ruse which includes elaborate stories, long lists of symptoms, and jumping from hospital to hospital. And such an obsession with sickness often stems from past trauma or serious illness. It affects less than 0.5% of the general population. And again, there's no cure. But it is often limited with the use of psychotherapy. Kluver-Bucy syndrome is one that is not unfamiliar. It shouldn't be unfamiliar, because I remember on social media recently, or well, it could have been as long ago as late last year, there was a story of a guy that had this condition. And it is where an individual may crave the taste of a book, which gives a whole new meaning to Reader's Digest. Or they may want to have sex with a car. And it's reality. for these individuals. It's a scary mental disorder characterized by memory loss, the desire to eat inedible objects, and sexual attraction to inanimate objects like automobiles. Not surprisingly, those with Kluver-Bucy syndrome often have trouble recognizing objects or people that should be familiar. This terrifying mental disorder is difficult to diagnose and seems to be the result of severe injury to the brain's temporal lobe. Unfortunately, no cure, and sufferers are often affected for the rest of their lives. So, whereas some conditions are treatable, you have others that are not. You know about OCD, and it is where, for those who don't know, where an individual, most often it is characterized by an immense fear, anxiety, or recurring thoughts of worry. And it's only through repetition of tasks, including well-known obsessions with cleanliness and cleanliness, I should say, that sufferers of OCD are able to find relief. Now, to make matters interestingly worse, those with the OCD are often entirely aware of the fears, and they know that their fears are irrational. But that only brings about a new cycle of anxiety. OCD affects approximately 1% of the population, and though scientists are unsure of the exact cause, it is thought that chemicals in the brain are a contributing factor. And it often baffles me why people talk about a chemical imbalance in the brain, when the only chemical in the brain really isn't that like brain matter? What kind of chemical is in the brain? I'll leave it alone. Have you ever heard of Paris syndrome? No, not Michael Jackson's daughter. It's an extremely odd temperamental disorder, and it causes one to be completely overwhelmed while visiting Paris, the city, in France. Yes. Interestingly, it seems to be most common among Japanese travelers. Of the approximately 6 million Japanese visitors to Paris every year, 1 to 2 dozen experience the overwhelming anxiety, depersonalization, derealization, and persecutory ideas, hallucinations, and acute delusions that characterize Paris syndrome. Interesting, eh? Doctors can only guess as to what causes this rare affliction, because most of the people who experience Paris syndrome do not have a history of any mental illnesses. The leading thought is that this scary neurological disorder is triggered by the language barrier, by physical and mental exhaustion, and the reality of Paris as compared to the idealized version. Now, I only have a couple more. Literally, a couple more. Reduplicative amnesia. Ever heard of it? Well, here we go. That's why I'm doing this show. It's very similar to Capgras syndrome. But instead of believing that people are duplicates, those with reduplicative amnesia believe that the location has been duplicated. And this belief manifests in many ways, but always includes the sufferer being convinced that a location exists in 2 places at once. The term reduplicative amnesia was first used in 1903 by neurologist Arnold Pick and described a patient with Alzheimer's. Today, it is most often seen in patients with tumors dementia, brain injury, or other psychiatric disorders. So they can have something else going on and end up with this. So it's not just one thing that they're dealing with. Now, icing on the cake. This is the one that I'm gonna close out this show with before moving into musical therapy. Stendhal syndrome, and is unfortunately fortunately it is seemingly only temporarily. The syndrome occurs when the sufferer is exposed to a large amount of art in one place. Yes, you heard right. Art. Paintings, drawings, sculptures, art. If it is in one place or in other environments characterized by extreme beauty, those who experience this odd disorder report sudden rapid heartbeat, overwhelming anxiety, confusion, dizziness, and even hallucinations. Kind of sounds like Paris syndrome, doesn't it? Stendhal syndrome is named after the 19th century French author who described in detail his experience after an 1817 trip to Florence. Here's a little bit more of an interesting bit of information. Stendhal syndrome is also referred to as Florence syndrome. Florence is that beautiful, I guess. I've never been there. It makes me want to visit when I hear of the beauty of Florence. But there you have it. Stendhal syndrome and the crew. Some of the scariest mental disorders around. And I may make light of it on occasions and jest, but the reality of it is that these conditions exist. And if there's anybody that you may come across that suffers from any of these conditions, please be mindful that it is real for them. Whether it is OCD or Stendhal syndrome or alien hand syndrome, whatever it may be, it is real for them. Kicking off our musical therapy segment, this is Tenille.
Smile like the stars that brightens up the night.
The track is Man You're Beautiful.
And in my hand, hold me tight. Eyes so deep, like the ocean so mysterious. Boy, you make me feel so damn delirious. 'Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter, could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? Then man, you're beautiful. You make the sun come up on a rainy day.
Another one courtesy of J Vibe Music. This is King Charles working out with Tiffany Silver. The track is called Spend the Night.
A long time me no see your girl. Come make we spend some time and all a nice vibe now. Me have something for your girl. Me know you want it cause me can see it in your eyes now, baby. And we can take the time to ease your mind and steam up the sensei. Cause tonight me need some company. So girl, I want your body. Baby, put it on me. You know I'm gon' please you and I know that you gon' please me. Girl, I want your body. Baby, put it on me. You won't say you have a bedtime, but me have a question for ask you. Can you spend the night with me? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Cause the way you look tonight, baby, you make me wanna sing and I say you know, say no other man like me, no they out there, but I can be your hero, girl, because me don't say you know, say we a go both way. And when you fly past the clouds, never know, say you woulda light off the pound. Never know, say you woulda tear off me clothes. Baby girl, me why you sing it out low. Tell you say you need to catch my drift. Love it when you wine go down and dip. Tell you say me like your style and me like your vibe, so baby turn it round and flip. Love it every time you call my name. Baby girl, my city's my pain. Look me in my eyes and drown the night. The way you move ignite my flame. You spend the night with me. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So way you look tonight, baby, you make me wanna sing it and I say girl with meditation, so disguise. Baby, take my hand and trust that me not gonna wait no time. That's why me really have to love you. You always stay true. You are my dream that has come true. Yeah. In the lights and champagne, roses leading to the bed. You got me weak to me heart, baby. Me know you're ready for me. You're ready for me.
Let's go. Go to that place where we can feel alive. The sound of Hezron.
Baby, this is long awaited. A long time we are planning, but we keep on postponing. So now no hold back, no regrets. Cause this time we no care if them cut all the line there. Now we on a trip for two. The kids ain't around, it's just me and you, baby. Let's take it, we deserve it.
This is Annette Brissett. The love of Jah abides.
Know the pains that we've been going through with all our friends we've had and we once knew. To each his own, to every living one that you love. These are the days we're asking you for your blessings, Lord. The love of Jah abides forever. You know, for enduring come on, His love abides whenever enduring eye for eye was. In life, we know there's lots of little ups and downs, and many of them even want us to play around as if we wear them up and you know what? Oh, but in this time, we've got to learn to chant it down. Open up your heart, let the love of a Jah come shining through. The love of Jah forever. When you never enduring eye for eye was. Let it go now. The love of Jah abides forever. In you and I for I was. His love abide in you and I, in you and I. In this a little bit of life as we know, there's lots of little ups and downs, and many of them even want us to play around as if we wear them up at them accounts. But in this your time, we've got to learn how to chant it down and open up your heart. Let the love of a Jah come shining through it. The love of Jah abides forever. In you and I for eye, enduring eye for eye. This love of Jah abides forever. And
since he came into my life, it doesn't seem to rain again.
This is the son of G. Cole.
I don't see this world the same.
Since you came into my life.
I don't really feel this pain again since he came into my life.
This is from the album Ocho Rios.
I'm gonna say it cause I'm certain you're an angel here on earth. I can't even find the words to really tell you what you were. Sometimes tears of joy escape me, and I'm not the crying type. But baby, everything feels right since you came into my life. Since you came into my life, it doesn't seem to rain again. Since you came into my life, I don't see this world the same again. Since you came into my life, I don't really feel this pain again. Since you came into my life, since you came into my life, I can feel the sparks when you hold me, and I'm holding on to you. all the special things you've shown me. Girl, I'm so in love with you. I wanna plant you a field of roses to show you how I feel. And I'm just hoping, girl, that you notice that my love for you was real. And I know there'll be rough times and some stormy days, but if we build our home on true love, when it rains, it'll never be able to wash us away. Guess what we've got is love. Since you came into my life, since you came into my life, it doesn't seem to rain again. Since you came into my life, I don't see this world the same again. Since you came into my life, I don't really feel this pain again. Since you came into my life, since you came into my life, I'm gonna say it 'cause I'm certain you're an angel here on earth. I can't even find the words to really tell you what you were. Sometimes tears of joy is getting me, and I'm not the crying type, but baby everything feels right since you came into my life.
I know you're hurting, but move on with your life. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy.
This is the sound of The Real Storm.
Journey just the strong will serve.
A track called Survive.
Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. Woman, in your eyes, I can see you are bruised. Dirty hands all around you were robbed of your youth. Many nights you still cry, tell me, ain't that the truth? Turn that grief into strength, make that door, pay that rent, you won't be bent. Yeah. I know you're hurting, but move on with your life. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. 'Cause on this journey, just the strong will survive. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. While hunting for the paper, if one door closes, you better rally back later. Rise above the pressure, yeah. Babylon no one get up, people do better. So get your act together. Persevere, me brother. Blaze the fire, brother, yeah. You got to fight through stormy nights, you got to fight. I know you're hurting, but move on with your life. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. 'Cause on this journey, just the strong will survive. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. Some of your friends have done you wrong. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Don't let that break you, move along. Yeah. No matter how much time you fall, if you get up, you've won it all, all, all. I know you're hurting, but move on with your life. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy. 'Cause on this journey, just the strong will survive. Yeah, 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 boy. Yeah, 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 boy, yeah, boy.
I mean, I say, yo, despite all the struggles we are facing, I say, always remember this. Better days are to see. Yeah, that. Even though life's rough, things tough, and times
This is the sound of Danai.
give up, fight the fight, and
A track called Better Days Ahead.
'cause after the rain falls, the sun will shine again.
So true.
Better days ahead.
There are better days ahead.
Better days ahead. Me get kicked out in the streets, I get in your job. I'm going up food for eat, packing out no paper. The amount of studio me bleach, my rust say yeah. Brand new rhythm for release, get pen to paper. 2014, get ready, get bang up, so me start to get up. Car wash, no play money inside, but hustle to the hustle, what you know about struggle and survival. When stress reach, me smart weed and ease the pressure. Them see that's the girl, that's rough, things tough, and times red. But don't you give up, fight the fight until the end. 'Cause after the rain falls, shine again. Better days ahead. Better days ahead. No fish walk in my shoes, but them not really know. Struggles up will fight and go through. Man coulda dead enough. Never you lose faith, roll up your head enough. Put in the work and life and no better rose. Give thanks, my tune and play on the radio. See me on the TV, we them want me living now. For me leave for the show, wipe the tears them from my eyes. You can't see me down and crying. Even though life's rough, things tough, and times draining. But don't you give up, fight the fight until the end. Cause after the rain falls, the sun will shine again. Better days ahead. Better days ahead.
No, I can't deny this love that I have for you.
This is Shanika.
My baby, my one and only.
Produced by B. Will.
Nobody's gonna love you.
Brian Williams. It's called Like I Do.
Boy, I can't resist your kiss and tenderness. Even when you're away, you know I never diss. It's funny how they thought I'd never be around.
I just love when the musicians, the South Florida musicians, produce a good track.
Me and you forever. When bad man come, we're laughing together. The only one that I need is you. This love that I give is true. And baby, no one's gonna love you like
He worked with J Vibe on this one.
no, never. The haters, they don't wanna see me and you grow together, but I'm down for you. And you're down for me. Baby, yes, I'm down for you. We are down for each other. Life can't get no better with you.
This is how I bounce on out of here tonight. I want to thank you each and everyone for tuning in. Remember,
No better love.
this month we're recognizing mental health.
And anytime you need me, baby, call me. I'll be at
Invite you to catch me tomorrow, same time, same place, kevinstew.com, 10 p.m. Eastern,
you wearing
for Real Talk Wednesday, aka Marlon's favorite night shift show.
nothing together. The only one that I need is you. This love that I give is true. And baby, no one's gonna love you like I do. No, never. The haters, they don't wanna see me and you.
Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are in the world.
And you're down for me.
Until later on,
Baby, yes, I'm down for you.
peace and love.
Down for each other. Life can't get no better with you. I can see much clearer with you. No better love out there than this, I swear. Baby boy, I can't resist your kiss and tenderness. Even when you're away, you know I never diss. It's funny how they thought I'd never be around. Thought I'd never hold you down, but baby, me and you forever. When bad man come, we're laughing together. The only one that I need is you. This love that I give is true. And baby, no one's gonna love you like I do. No, never. The haters, they don't wanna see me and you grow together. Love for you.
Priceless? Consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.